No.
Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSperts. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen. As always on Friday, Andy Molitor here, and we need all the help we can get. We weave in a third man, especially for baseball season. Matthew, how was the beginning of baseball season yesterday?
Oh, well, it was fun. It's a little bit odd that, Major League Baseball didn't want to nationally televise any of their games except for one yesterday. You'd think a league trying to market themselves might want to do that, but had some of those rotating games on the MLB network. And then, of course, my White Sox came away with a big-time win on, I guess, not Sunday Night Baseball, Thursday Night Baseball in Houston. So it was a lot of fun for me. How about you guys? Did you guys watch?
That was about the – that one was
Andy, we didn't win Houston most runs.
No. Houston most runs did not come through. Although I went to BetUS, and as I've lamented about numerous times, I cannot bet very much there anymore. My limits are low on a lot of things, but I found a bunch of fun baseball props, and I made ones where it's just like, will any game have at least 17 runs? Will any game have at least 19 runs? Will any game have at least... I think 21 was the highest I went. I didn't even check if that one cashed, along with the Houston most runs. But like, there was a couple games that got up there. We had a couple 19s. I don't think I got the 21. But I did catch.
Noops' Phillies game had a ton of runs. I don't know if we got the 21, but it was like 11-7 or something like that.
Yeah, that one was
8. Orioles, Red Sox got to 19, 10-9 there.
Yeah, we got a few of them dumb props on, but I just went with that sort of stuff. Had some fun, bet some K props. There was a lot of stolen bases. Yes, anybody saw that in the preseason? What do you call it? Spring training. There was more stolen bases than we'd ever seen before. And after you do your two, pickoff moves, basically that guy has carte blanche to.
Yeah.
I'm going to take an extra step here. You literally can't throw to first base. Like the only way
you can step off the mound though, right? So if you can, like, if the runner's on first and you've used your two pickoffs and he goes, I can step off and throw to second. Correct?
You could throw to second. But yeah, you have to assume like the ball could go from second to first or catcher to first. Faster than that guy could get back. So that guy can take some nasty leads. So that was super fun. There's a lot of pressure on the team to kind of figure out how to manage pickoff moves. I think once you make one, you kind of have to really lay off unless you really think you can get a guy, which is nice. I mean, Noops, I think will agree with me. Like some of these things that take forever when the guy steps out of the box 100 times or anything that makes baseball games just tedious and untenable is awful. And one of them is like 7 straight pickoff moves. Yeah. Where it's like, hey, it's a late, I get it.
There's not a pitch thrown in 30 seconds or like 3 minutes because went off, throw over, walk, step off, throw over. And it's like, dude, like just come on, throw a pitch.
Yeah. It's I get it. If it's like, hey, it's a high leverage game, it's late and the guy's, staring and then he picks off and like that sucks. So I was a big fan of the way the rule changes so far has been implemented. I know it's only been 15 games of 2,430, but I like the pitch clock. I like the pace and baseball's back. Twins, White Sox, atop
the AL Central, Andy.
Suck it,
hell
Cleveland.
of a race already.
Suck it, Cleveland. So
I'm fading them again tonight too.
This is good. We're robo umps away from perfection. I'll let you know once I go. I'm gonna go to a bunch of minor league games and just play. How did the robo umps play? Because you can't watch a lot of that on TV. I think you really have to go to the game. Do you have any minor league games near you, Noops? You have Lehigh Valley, I think. Isn't that a thing?
Yeah, we have a couple of them. The Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs and then the Reading Phillies.
That's such a great name.
The best part about minor league is the great names. So After I made fun of European basketball names. I love fun names, just not if you're from Europe. Sorry, Giannis. I ruined Giannis too. He's like Giannis is not winning the MVP anymore. It is for sure what Noops said, a 2-man race. But let's gamble on some stuff.
Giannis yesterday.
Yeah. Speaking of people with stupid names, hockey. Hockey has a lot of wild names because it is heavy on the Europeans, especially some Eastern Europeans, and so I always like simple ones like the Clutterbucks of the world. It's a nice.
I feel like Clutterbuck is not the most simple name. I mean,
that is. It's a lot of hard.
Simple name.
A lot of clutter. Like it's easy for me. Either way. Well, what's on tap for a Friday night in the NHL?
As per usual, we got a pretty small slate. Only one pick. I didn't really like a whole lot of the stuff. And I mean, as you wind down to the end of the season here, I think the numbers obviously get sharper and sharper. So just one pick here. I don't love the team exactly, but I really do like the value and like who they're going up against. Detroit has won. They played last night, which makes me a little bit nervous about betting them. But they beat in their last 2 games the Carolina Hurricanes, who are bona fide Stanley Cup contender. They beat the Pittsburgh Penguins pretty good. Who are not really. I don't think they're going to be a Cup contender, but they're a playoff team and a solid opponent. Going up to Winnipeg to play the Jets, who are really been pretty bad down the stretch in their last 2 games. They've lost to the Sharks and the Ducks, who are 2 teams competing in the bad for Bedard sweepstakes. Lost 4-1 and 3-0. I think it is. They're really not playing all that well at hockey here down the stretch. They're in a bit of a playoff push still, but they're playing very, very badly. I like Detroit here in this spot playing some good hockey. Really at that value, at 2-1 for how these 2 teams are playing. I think there's too much to pass up on. Other than that, you got the Stars and the Coyotes. I thought about laying the 1.5 with Dallas over Arizona, who's another team tanking. At +1 weight, but don't really like the value there. Dallas is just playing okay. Calgary and Andy's Canucks are both too unpredictable. And I wanted to take an over in Rangers and Sabres tonight. I have to bet Buffalo on here above. They're a team that scores a ton of goals, lets up a lot of goals. But the Rangers played last night, and I'm not too confident taking it over on a team. It's on the second of a back-to-back, and that also went from -115 at about 8 o'clock this morning to -130 at about 9 this morning. Not really sure why that jumped so quickly and so high, but it's something I'm going to stay away from.
Sounded good at the beginning. I lost you guys.
Thank you.
In there.
You're welcome. I don't even know if I'm on. Like my StreamYard frozen.
You're frozen. It's actually it's a very good frozen. Yeah, I can hear you, but it's just a nice frozen pose for you. You look good.
Wildly annoying.
Having fun today, folks.
When get it together, Chrome. All right,
I
think
Friday fuckery.
You're back now.
Happy WrestleMania. Yeah, WrestleMania Final Four. Let's do a little
Dan, get us the WrestleMania bet here like you did the
Do you
Royal
know who's
Rumble.
going to win WrestleMania?
Yeah,
that's
Dan gave us a Royal Rumble winner. I think he can give us a WrestleMania winner as well.
Little early for that sort of stuff, but no, we'll bet on the NBA. How many games are left? I feel like some teams have 5 or 6. We're kind of getting right down there. Really bad harbinger last night. My nice Timberwolves hat? I have that new dog. He's still young. He's only 5 months old, Lenny. He likes the I don't have it on this hat, but the plastic things on the snapback hats. He loves those. Destroyed my Timberwolves hat. And like once that plastic thing's gone, the hat's shit. I threw it away. I'm pissed.
You can't wear it.
Because not only did I like the hat, but I bought it at the stadium, which means it had like a 300% markup. That was like, it's like a $50 goddamn hat. So
expensive dog toy.
I'm very calm and forgiving. That's what happens when you have a puppy. You're going to lose things. Our first beagle ate a pair of Ray-Bans like the first day my wife brought them home.
Ugh.
Like she went to Sunglass Hut and just ate a very expensive, not really, but expensive enough to be very mad at the dog. This is what happens when you get puppies. So bad omen, and then boom, Naz Reid out forever. So Timberwolves are done.
So that's your dog's fault.
Maybe not playing champs. That sucks. Naz Reid was really playing well, so that stinks. But nice size slate, like you mentioned yesterday. Kind of avoiding the days. And I know I gave Dan shit about this because it was the NIT. The point wasn't to avoid the NIT. The point was to have a ton of games on Friday rather than Thursday so you can afford to take Saturday off. And there is a massive slate of games today. I think everybody plays. I'm not going to fact check that, but I think every single basketball team in the world. I will not accept your head shaking. Almost every team. There's like 12 damn games, so it's a big day.
It is like 12.
And it's
13.
still like I get it that people
It's a lot of
work
games.
and you're gonna get just screwed on the TV ratings if you do this, but man, I have a noon game when you have this many games. Like, give me a 2:00. Give me one of the games that doesn't make a game that doesn't matter fun for us. Like, give me Detroit, Houston at 2 p.m. Those teams don't give a shit if they're playing at 2 p.m. That should be your punishment for being bad. I would love to watch a middle of the afternoon NBA game today, but such is life. Nothing starts till 7 p.m. all the way up till 10:30 p.m. Eastern. But big slate of games, and I'm sure we're gambling. What do you got?
I had that thought, by the way, and now that I look at it, it lines up perfectly. What you do, Andy, is Magic Wizards at noon, Bulls Hornets at like 1:30. You put Knicks Cavs on, like, if try to find a way to sneak that on ESPN at like 3:00. The Garden loves that early start time. And they just roll through the rest of the day because, yes, almost every team is playing. We have 13 entire games. Yes, Kevin, I know that COVID was terrible, but the bubble was
the
awesome.
bubble was so
the
fun.
Bubble was the best.
Noon games all the time. Yes.
Just, multiple basketball. But again, a lot to go through. And again, I'll quickly kind of touch on the games I didn't bet. There was 3 that I did. Oklahoma City, Indiana, the Thunder 2.5-point favorites on the road. Hard to back them as road favorites, but the Pacers have really shut it down here. No Halliburton, no Duarte. Again, Miles Turner, it looks like he's questionable, so I have to skip out on that one, but I do lean to Oklahoma City. The Raptors play my Philadelphia 76ers. As always, we don't know who's playing in Philadelphia tonight. Could be Hard, could be Embiid, could be neither, so can't touch that game. Dan's Atlanta Hawks, 1.5-point favorites in Brooklyn, the totally gigantic 240. And as my model tends to do, it likes unders in Hawks games. It's a bad idea. Just leave that one alone. Don't hate the Nets, honestly, as dogs at home. The Cleveland Cavaliers, 2.5-point favorites over the Knicks. Again, this is a perfect 3:30 game. Everyone would watch this freaking game at 3:30 on a Friday. Number looks just about right to me. Thought maybe about an under there, but possibly no Jarrett Allen, and the Knicks have pushed pace. So we'll pass on that one. Jazz Celtics. The Jazz are 13.5-point underdogs. I have them as like 9.5-point underdogs. Should be a bad rest spot for Boston, but I'm just not betting that. It's so hard to make heads or tails of what's going on with some of these games. And you've got the Clippers. They're 6.5-point underdogs in Memphis. I need to see what the Clippers injury report shakes out to be. I kind of like them there. Your Minnesota Timberwolves, Andy, 1-point favorites over the Lakers. Should be a great game. Could be a play-in championship preview, possibly. So keep your eyes on that. That'll be a lot of fun. All the numbers look right there. Kings, 14-point favorites in Portland. Should probably be 20-point favorites. But again, I'm just not about that life. The Warriors, 17.5-point favorites against the Spurs. This is another one that I show a pretty big edge on, but I'm just not betting the Spurs on the road. And then the Nuggets, plus 9.5 in Phoenix. Don't get too excited. It looks like no one's going to be playing for Denver. But the 3 games I did bet out of the other 10 or so. Your Chicago Bulls, Matt, I think that they do win this game in Charlotte, but I have no idea why they're 10-point favorites on the road to a Hornets team that is kind of locked into their position here. You know, this is the time of the year everyone's worried about tanking. You take a quick look at the standings. The Hornets are about 6 or 7 games ahead of the third worst record, about 6 or 7 games behind the team there. Somehow they fall into kind of this weird middle that no one else is sitting in at 26 wins. Again, 19 below them, 32 or so above. So they've been playing some nice basketball, have won their last 3 games, and I think that there's a great way for them to keep this game close. The Chicago Bulls team that hasn't really blown out bad teams this year, loves playing a slower pace in a game that should be an under, just too many points for me. So give me the Hornets plus 10. The Magic Wizards, I think under 225, still available here. Yes, I'm looking at 225 right now. Just expecting kind of a slow, ugly game here. The Wizards without Bradley Beal played at a much slower pace. The shooting efficiency is down. Kyle Kuzma is out, who is arguably their most important player, especially offensively here. The Magic, a really fun young team. We've enjoyed them all year, and although they're playing some good basketball, I still have struggled to find ways to score the ball. I had this closer to 220 myself, so I like this 225. And then another bad team, the Detroit Pistons, go to visit the Houston Rockets, and I grabbed 5.5. This seemed pretty solid, 5.5, but it looks like somebody's coming in. They want to lay points with the Rockets at home. It's up to 6.5 right now. there is no reason on earth for either one of these teams to really be trying to do anything. This is a game that is, kind of going to decide, I think, who gets the number 1 versus number 2 slot, which again doesn't really matter. Once you have one of the 3 worst records, you have all the same chance of getting the first pick. And in what should be an ugly basketball game, I don't think either team should be a big favorite here. So maybe something happened to the Pistons here that I don't know about. But as far as I'm concerned, as long as they've got a couple of their big men out there and Jaden Ivey playing, which, again, all were clean on the injury report this morning. I had this game closer to 2 or 3, basically, whatever you think. Houston's home court advantages. So give me the Pistons plus 5.5. So 2 stinky teams and an under. Let's have some Friday fuckery.
I like the Hornets. The Bulls have been playing kind of better lately, but like you said, they're never very good against bad teams, and the Hornets are actually playing pretty well. This is very, very easily could be a game that sneaks up on the Bulls.
Then seeing some MVP questions, it looks like a coin flip to me. I think it's Embiid or Jokic. Giannis, again, there's still more games left, but he would really have to do something insane at this point to get himself back in. So as you start to look at some of the straw polls, try to think of what happens to those Giannis voters. Do some of those Giannis voters feel like they become Embiid voters? They become Jokic voters? Because, again, I think if anything solidified over the last couple of days, it's Embiid or Jokic. I lean towards Embiid at this point, but it feels like a coin flip.
Yeah, it's a coin flip, and it's like the 2 factors are, where do the Giannis voters end up if they truly were Giannis voters, and where does, is there truly this, this supposed fatigue of, hey, do we really want to make a guy who's had very little postseason success, put him in this rarefied air with these absolute freaking legends of the game who had, what was it? Bird,
Russell,
and
Wilt,
and Chamberlain.
So those guys did have some championships. I believe if you look back at some of the Celtics postseason, I'm not going to fact check this either. I do think the Celtics did win some championships. I feel like Bird was.
I don't know about that, Andy.
Bird was in some playoff games during his career as well. So
Larry Bird also finished second 3 times at MVP.
God, I just want to watch. What's the name of the show?
Winning Time.
I want to watch Winning Time again.
I've had queued up for about a week. I'm going back.
They do such a good job with Larry Bird. So, how did MJ not win 3 straight MVPs? He probably would have if he did. He took those 2 years off in the middle of the most dominant run ever. Also,
he was mean to media people at the end, and for some reason they spited him and gave it to Karl freaking Malone.
If you're part of the, hey, I live in Houston, you should be thanking him because hey, you got some championships. That was a really good team. Don't want to take away from the dream and the dream shake, but Jesus Christ, what a gift.
Welcome, Houston. You're welcome.
What a gift. So speaking of Houston, we head to Houston for an actual good segue here by Andy for the Final Four in NRG Stadium, and we'll have a couple of pretty good games, closely lined. I did end up on a favorite and a dog in this one. I'm looking at a total as well, but basically just chasing the steam with SDSU. And I don't know. I still have a soft spot in my heart from the season they had during the COVID year where they didn't get to play in the tournament, but I cannot look at anything and tell you why FAU has been this good. I get it. I understand why they've played this well and how they've taken it to this next level. But if you give me this matchup a month ago, I don't know. I'm making San Diego State on a neutral a 4. So I'm fine. There's been a little bit of steam. This is pushed out to 2.5. Or 3 at a few places. You can still get a decently priced 2.5. I'm on that, but much more interested in the nightcap, the later game, the Miami UConn game. UConn clearly the best team left in the tournament. Miami clearly has a fatal flaw in their defense. This is, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to say it. Miami is the best offense left. I think so. I think this can be the best offense. And yes, their defense is just a bit of a drop off, as you will, from some of the teams that we traditionally see as far as defensive efficiency into the Final Four. But they've been so good in the second half. I am betting Miami 5.5, and I will not be afraid to add on to that position at halftime because they've been so good in these second halves. They have like a plus 45, plus 50, something like that, as far as just overall second half, margin of victory. They've been so good with their second half adjustments. I do believe they have the better coach. Honestly, I'd kind of like to see him win and ride off into the sunset. He's like 75 years old. So I will be backing the Fighting Laranagas at a dog price, probably take a little bit on the money line as well. So yeah, that's not a bad thought, Kevin Hilmers. UConn first half, Miami second half double result. We are in Houston, the home of
double result.
The home of the double result. So yeah, UConn, it'd be nice to say happy trails to UConn. I'm sorry that you have them 60-1 and I'm just cheering against them, Kevin, but I'm looking for Miami to make a game of it in the second half there. That'd be an awful lot of fun if we had another strong performance by the Hurricanes in the second half. And speaking of Miami, I don't know if you actually bet the Miami game, but they have a team.
They do have a team.
Do a little baseball yet today. Because it wouldn't be super show. Wouldn't be super show if we didn't do like 5 different sports.
It's unfortunately there is a game in Miami today. I don't have it on my card. I did try and throw together a personal just like favorites run line plus money parlay on my own. That's not going to be what I'm talking about here. 2 games, both of them are laid down. Unfortunately, there's only like 4 or 5 games on the slate because the MLB does that the day after opening day off with the exception of a couple teams in case there's some bad weather, so they can push it back and not have to really worry about the schedule. But 2 places where I don't think we're going to have to, well, maybe Seattle. No, they have a retractable roof. So 2 places we don't have to worry about the weather. Los Angeles and Seattle. First off, the Dodgers hosting the Diamondbacks. I got the Dodgers minus at 1.5 and plus 112. It is Dustin May on the mound for the Dodgers. He is had Tommy John last year. He came back towards the end, was okay in starts. He's going to be a very good pitcher for him, but really it's his first full season in a year and a half here coming off Tommy John. I think there's going to be a little bit of a feeling out process for him coming back from that. Going up against Diamondbacks and Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly's been shelled by the Dodgers, was shelled by them, I should say, last year. He went 0-5 with an ERA of 8.25 in 24 innings. So he got absolutely shelled through his 5 starts by the Dodgers last year. I think there's a chance they get the over by themselves, but we're just going to take the over in general and take that plus 112. And then the Mariners laying 1.5 against the Guardians. Robbie Ray throwing for the Mariners tonight, and he's very boom or bust. When he's got his good stuff, he's really good, but when he's not as good, he can be pretty bad. But he had a pretty solid spring. Cleveland's offense is not going to be the best in the AL by any stretch. They're a team that gets by on pitching and defense and timely hitting, and Jose Ramirez, I'll give him that. But they're having Hunter Gaddis tonight, who's really a bullpen guy being thrown into a start because of the late injury to Tristan McKenzie, so he's out of the rotation. I think this is a tremendous advantage in the pitching matchup here for Seattle. They beat Cleveland 3-0 last night after a gem for Luis Castillo, so I like rolling the dice with them again, minus 1.5 at home against Cleveland, plus 132.
Yeah, they hit for shit yesterday. Their top 3 went like 2 for 12. It was I get it's Castillo, but it's kind of expected.
Their offense is streaky too. They'll go through these hot stretch. They're not the deepest lineup. They're pretty good at the top. Once you get towards the bottom of it, they're not that good. So if the top of their lineup does have a night like that where they're only 2 for 12, they're not producing, they're going to have a rough offense. I mean, most teams will, but they don't really have the bottom of the order to get them by and produce as much as other teams might have.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's close it out like we always plan to with the biggest event of the night, a women's semi. Honestly, Miami's been so good. I've tried to. This freaking rain has really been kind of a bummer. Although it's still been really good tennis. Honestly, I don't know. Men's side, what do you think the price is for the men's semifinal here?
I guess my first question.
No, I mean the Alcaraz Sinner. I don't think it's up yet. I'm
looking at Alcaraz's minus 240.
Yeah, I might lay the 2-0 price, depending what that is, even at a juicy price. Like Alcaraz is just doing the thing like he's been doing for about the last 3 weeks, where he's playing kind of at a different level than other people. He looks wildly annoying to play against that because like Fritz was playing really good tennis, and then it's just like, oh shit. you're just that much better than me right now. I'm looking forward to the Medvedev matchup again, hopefully on Sunday. So excited about the men's side. I may be price shopping in Alcaraz 2-0. I'm guessing I can get that at a fair
Even
enough
money.
price. I mean, what's minus 240? Like minus 110 for 2-0?
I just looked at it. It's about even money for 2-0.
Okay. All right. That's my men's side bet. Nothing on the all Ruski semifinal. Like Medvedev should make really short work of Hachinov. I'm guessing he's probably about minus 500 in that one. That's not something I'd want to be getting involved with just because I don't know if I like laying the games in something like that. I think Medvedev might be kind of coasting in the second set, just comfortable, maybe a comfortable tiebreak win over Hachinov there in the first. We'll see how that goes, but it should be Medvedev getting the Spaniard again. And interesting news before we get to your plays. Did you see, I'm sure you did, that Wimbledon will be letting everybody play again as long as they're not assholes, basically. If anyone remembers
Sign a
that
neutrality agreement.
Yeah, it's basically it's the what's the movie? What's the Dazed and Confused? You got to sign the paper saying you're committed to the football team. I think it's basically like, unless you come out and say, I stand with Putin, I think we should be grinding our heel into these Ukrainian bastards. Like unless you're that guy, you're going to be allowed to play Wimbledon as a Russian player. And most of the Russian players have been like, hey, I'm just a tennis player. I don't even live in Russia. Like, I'm not involved in this. I'm not part of the war effort. Like, this is, a pretty compartmentalized with that sort of thing. So it will seem like we'll be able to get our top Russian and Belarusian players into Wimbledon, it's nice. It's similar to what we're seeing next week at Augusta. Like, hey, I want Cam Smith. I want Dustin Johnson. I want those live guys at Augusta. Same kind of thing in a obviously way different context, but it's good for the sport to have all your top players. So good for Wimbledon for trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And again, if you follow the show and you follow tennis and all, some of your very best players are Russian and Belarusian. So it'll be nice to finally have everybody at Wimbledon. Kevin asked, do I bet on doubles? Not really, no. Doubles it's hard to find good data on doubles. It requires a lot of watching and things like that. I like doubles. Doubles is one of my favorite forms to watch. I bet it in. There's like a 6 to 8 week season for World Team Tennis. If you're familiar, I can't remember if I bet something on the show. I think I did at one point, but it's just a mess. And I like betting some of the doubles there. But yeah, doubles is fun. I just haven't wrapped my head around it. I know our buddy Vinny does, and I'm not quite sure how.
Yeah, he gets into that. There's probably softer lines. If you do get good at doubles, I'm guessing you'll just get limited. I've seen that with even good books like Bookmaker. I know they've limited some people who are just like, hey, I'm crushing, all challenger and all doubles, and I'm not betting into major markets. Like, yeah, well, you're not going to be betting into those much anymore. So it's probably a fun niche one that you could find some decent lines on if you spent the time digging up data. But yeah. Good one tonight, and your bet worries me. I don't know which way you're going with this. Is this a one-way traffic, or no matter what happens, you think it could be a quicker first? This is an interesting bet for sure.
Yeah, so we bet a lot of first sets, and it's usually over, but I'm going the other way here. The Petra Kvitova-Sorona Kyrstaya match has a total of 20. I can't get close to that number, especially if we're looking at a two-set match here. Kvitova has played some longer sets here, so has Kyrstaya, but these are two women that have played each other about 7 or 8 times. And again, not that I look at head-to-head a lot, but it's consistent, the results. They play about once or twice every year, honestly, it seems like it. It's kind of the same match, 6-2, 6-1s, occasionally some 6-3s in the first. And again, these really quick sets, which, given the strength of both players, their ability to return kind of makes sense to me. I mean, I am a little surprised that I was going back and looking and didn't see some longer sets for either woman, but the total of 22, it just looked wrong to me. I had this at a cheap 21.5, maybe an expensive 21. So as I started looking at some of the derivatives, this under 8.5 price looks awesome. Anything plus 200 or better. There's even a plus 210 out there if you look hard enough. It just basically we need 6-2, 6-1, 6-0. And again, I think the match is pretty even, Andy, to your point. I don't think it's one-way traffic really either way. But if this match goes 2 sets, it's definitely going under that 22. But I think it's going to be competitive enough to get us to 3. So I'm just going to look at set unders here. You can find the first set under. I'll be watching the match live this afternoon at 3 o'clock. And no matter what the first set does, I'm going to be making this bet again in the second set if I can get plus 200 on it, and the third set if I have a chance at it.
Yeah,
so I just think we're going to see much quicker sets than what the market is evaluating.
It's the perfect time of year for this analogy too. And if the glass slipper finally comes off for Kirstea, like she could get just run, in a first set like that. If it's not there all of a sudden, I don't know how she's been doing this, or I can see it the other way too. And I love Kvitova. I don't understand how she plays tennis with those, like she's like 80% leg. Like her waist is like high. She's very, very long legs, but really, I don't know, able to get to a lot of balls. So I'll be watching that one with you. And you got one I'm 90% sure this is the same person we bet a couple days ago. Okay.
Yeah, go back to Mexico. Again, the smaller tournament, it might be listed as a 125K at your book. It might be listed as a challenger event, but they're playing clay tennis. Not a lot of matches I've liked this week. Again, it's tough to make that change. Haven't watched all these players at hard court. Again, generally don't like betting women on surface chains, but Elizabeth Nicochioretta, a woman that we bet quite a bit in hard court season, is a minus 230 favorite over Tamara Zidansek. And a match tonight closer to minus 150, plus 150 either way. This should be a really tight match here. Both women, again, pretty solid on clay. Overall results for last year, much better for Cochioretta. Again, I could see her being the favorite, but again, not anywhere near the price I'm looking at here. So plus 170 or better here on Zidansek, which you can find just about everywhere. It looks like a nice play. Again, not going to touch the set. It's plus 4. The game spread, it's plus 4, minus 125 or plus 3.5. I have no interest in that on clay. Those matches very rarely end up mattering in terms of an underdog spread. So just give me the dog there. A first set under, and again, under, folks, not over. And Tamara Zidansek.
Matt, give me a White Sox to hit a home run. What's your catcher's name?
Yasmani Grandal. He hit one last night.
Oh man, he just looks so. I think he was still angry about letting the wild pitch past him that let the first run in, because he really took it out on that ball. That was a no doubt.
I want to pull up home runs because I want to see what they are for people to hit a home run tonight. But I got one for you. Let's go with, where is it? Oscar Colas at plus 750. He's a rookie. Didn't start last night because he was going up against a tough lefty, but he came in when Framber Valdez left. He had a base hit up the middle that the exit velocity was 109, and then his next at bat, he took one to the warning track just short of a home run. He's a big left-handed power hitter. Had quite a few home runs in spring training. Looked really good, and has looked the part in his first 2 at bats. Plus 750 against the Rider. I think he's going to be in the starting lineup tonight in right field. If that hits, you owe me another sporting event.
Yeah, I'll buy you something. I'll be down in Chicago next week. We'll be doing a little partying. All right, cool. And yeah, my favorite thing on the internet yesterday was the Roto Grinders, those automated accounts that just tweet out like when a home run is hit. This one now has the odds at the end of it for a home run to be hit by that player. And people in the comments who don't like sports betting are so mad. Like just I've unfollowed like those the 3 numbers with a plus sign after it.
Yeah. Why do those people care so much?
They're very mad about it. It's honestly, I've been clicking on the comments on most of those home runs to see how mad people are. It's very fun. So hopefully some more fun tonight, some more bombs. I'll watch a little baseball, a little tennis, a little b-ball. Looking forward to the Final Four. Thanks for joining us, Matt. Thanks for your insights, Alex. Thanks for your production, Dan. And thanks for joining us. Everybody hit the thumbs up on the way out. We'll see you Monday. I forgot.